It is a really sunny spring morning and it feels like an ideal opportunity to record my first video blog with this little action cam that I treated myself to for Christmas and haven't really used in anger yet. So let's go outside and see what we can point it at. Oh, it's cold out here. I think we'll hit the country lanes today. This time around March, April is my absolute favourite time of the year, I think, because everything is changing and it's changing for the better. Everything's getting greener, slowly at first, but then sort of all at once. The weather is changing for the better. We've had sort of a grey, wet, dismal winter, and now we have this. And I've always been a person who's kind of solar powered, in contrast to a lot of geeks who are practically nocturnal. The biggest factor in like my energy and how awake I feel is the presence of daylight. So even though we don't have particularly harsh winters by many standards, the winter months are kind of hard and a little bit depressing for me. I don't really have much of a surplus of energy to devote to things, and it's always a bit of a slog. But then we get to this point in the year and the sun is beginning to rise earlier and earlier and set later. And I know that we have a good run ahead of long days. It's just really nice to get through another winter and out the other side, you know? And to be able to come up here and it not be freezing cold, just enjoy a quiet walk with the sound of bird song. This was not actually the video that I intended to put up this week. I was going to do the Tomb Raider 12 in 12 thing, but that's, I think, just taking a little longer than I expected. It's a bit of a format break. But on making that, I've sort of come to a decision. This year, I've got a couple of Retro Histories projects on the go. I've got to make 12 videos about 12 classic games, and of course I've got a Let's Play and some other side projects as well. But lately I've been caught in that trap of desperately trying to make next week's video rather than working on the long-term things, the things that take a long time. And this is not a new problem, but it is one I've never really solved. So for the past couple of months, I haven't really sweated the business of getting a video out every Wednesday. Some weeks I just skipped, and I'm going to formalise that arrangement now, certainly for the time being. I don't really have the time to produce a video on a weekly schedule at the quality that I have in mind. It's not going to be a regular, planned out thing, but I suspect that on average, it's going to result in a video about every other week. Hopefully lifting that pressure is going to result in more time spent working on things like the Vulcan Fury Retro Histories episode 3, which I've been working on for like well over 6 months at this point, and it really is high time that I made more progress, but I've only got about 2.5 minutes of finished video, and I obviously need to double down on that. So this gives me the opportunity to do that. What else? I'm really enjoying doing 12 in 12. I'm on my 3rd game right now, Super Metroid, after last week finishing Tomb Raider, the first one. And it's just fantastic to play these classic games that I've missed and see the reasons why they're as acclaimed as they are. The one unintended consequence of it is that it basically eats nearly all of my gaming time, this project. So it doesn't provide me with a lot of time to play other games, but that's kind of a good thing because I'm not even tempted to pick up games in sales right now, because January is going to be the first opportunity I'm going to have to be able to dig into a new game. Yeah, so far 3 months in, I definitely recommend it to anyone. I've got a lot of games ahead of me, of course. Dark Souls, Monkey Island, Mario 64. There's not one that I'm not really looking forward to thoroughly, although I do have a little bit of trepidation about Dark Souls. I'm not a particularly good action gamer, and I suspect it's going to take me well above the average of about 50 hours to finish that thing. If any game is going to jeopardize the goal of finishing 12 games in 12 months, it's probably that one. Turn him round. I'm hoping in the next few weeks to get a broadband fibre upgrade, which raises the possibility of streaming again, at a decent quality this time. But I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I'm struggling to decide whether to do it on YouTube or on Twitch. YouTube, well, that's where I've got a bit of an existing presence, and it's where I've streamed before when I did those crossword streams last year. You know, everyone's got a Google account and they don't slam your stream with ads. Just one thing worries me, and that's if you stream the wrong piece of music or the wrong game or the wrong soundtrack, you could get a copyright strike on your channel, and that's really not a good thing for my main projects. Twitch is where people normally do this kind of thing. It certainly is where the audience is. But from a technical perspective, the streaming technology they offer is just kind of inferior to YouTube's. They don't offer transcoding to everyone. There are a lot of features that are really considered core that they only offer to partners. And the thing about Twitch that doesn't sit well with me, it's not a deal breaker, but it really doesn't sit well, is that they hit your stream with ads, whether you want it or not. It's not an opt-in thing. But having said all that, you can play music without too much concern. I genuinely can't decide between the two, so I'd love to hear any thoughts that you have on the matter of YouTube versus Twitch. And what, if anything, you'd like me to stream. Video editing, more crosswords. I'd like to do some old traditional roguelike stuff maybe, or the 12 in 12. What kind of streams would you like to see? What kind of thing that hasn't been done 1,000 times before by people much better at it than me? If I'm going to do anything, I want to do something that plays to my strengths, but what are those? This has been such an enjoyable walk. I hope that spring is showing itself for you too. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, of course, but autumn's pretty cool too. I'm Chris, the Tomb Raider video will be out soon, and thanks very much for watching.